Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and sadly has forced the closure of some businesses along. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at kbla1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 15.
1080, download the app.
It's Wealthy Wednesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our regular contributors with us today, Dr. Wilmer Leon, political scientist whose primary areas of expertise are Black politics, public policy, and American government. 11 years, Dr. Leon was a lecturer in the political science department at Howard University in Washington, D.C. It doesn't come with more soul force than Dr. Wilmer Leon. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the show.
As always, good afternoon and greetings and welcome to your audience.
Dr. Leon, as much as I want to opine in this hour, there are so many issues that we need to cover from one end of the world to the other, and you deserve that time. Dr. Leon, this is the third time that the power grid in Cuba has been out. What is Donald Trump and Marco Rubio setting us up for?
Wow. The sanctions that have been placed upon Cuba are horrific. First of all, we have to understand them in the context of mass punishment, collective punishment, which is it's
a human rights crime. Yeah, it's a human rights crime.
It's a human rights violation. The United States has cut off the island of Cuba's access to oil, which means they can't generate electricity, which means refrigerators are off, hospitals can't perform surgery, food spoils, medicine spoils. It is a collective punishment against the people of Cuba. That is a crime against humanity. And we have to ask ourselves, why is the United States government doing this? And it's doing this very simply because they don't like the Castro family, even though the Castros are no longer, Fidel and his brother are no longer in power. Fidel isn't even alive. They claim this is a communist government, and with all of that chatter, all of that rhetoric, they need to let it go. They need to understand that Cuba is a sovereign nation and allow the people of Cuba to determine the politics of their own country.
Dr. Leon, let me ask you this question. We have about 2 minutes before we come forward, so it's going to be fairly quick. What would it mean if the power to your refrigerator and the power to your freezer was shut down?
Well, actually, I just had that problem last week and had to throw out a whole bunch of food. But what it means is eating becomes incredibly more challenging. If you have medications that need to be refrigerated, your medication spoils. And that means not only in my house, but it means at the pharmacy down the street. They cannot keep medication cold. It means that the hospital in my village or in my area can't perform surgery. It means very simply, people suffer, people die. And you have to ask yourself, why?
And it does mean that everyone has to leave their home in real time to get fresh meat, to get fresh fish, to get fresh produce. It means there is a scramble. Everybody in the neighborhood is fighting for fresh protein. And there's no other way to even imagine it.
And it means that the elderly and those that are medically challenged can't get into air-conditioned facilities and stay cool.
Imagine Los Angeles. Imagine on the 10, on the 110, the 118, the 5, and the 101, if you were rushing home from work and your freezer was out, and so was your refrigerator. The challenges would be nothing short of extraordinary. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward with Dr. Wilmer Leon in just a moment.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's sharp. She's fearless.
I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how we're going to get clicks, stop it now.
She's that girl, and she's bringing all of that to your radio this summer. Amanda Seals is here.
I am Amanda Seals.
Comedian, artist, actress, activist, truth teller. The woman who never bites her tongue is coming to KBLA Talk 1580. And baby, the conversations are about to be unmatched. Every Friday, she's going to be lit noon to 2 p.m. and back again 4 to 6 p.m. starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Amanda Seals, keeping it real, keeping it raw, and keeping it rooted. Politics, pop culture, Black excellence, the stuff they don't want us talking about. Amanda's talking about all of it.
You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make.
The point that
and
you're
yet you
raising.
want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works.
This is not your average radio show. This is a Seals Summer. Fridays, noon to 2, 4 to 6. Starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't just listen. Tune in. You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. A place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive.
I love a girls' weekend, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin, thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
You can usually find me in the kitchen, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm still in the mix with Skyrizi to treat my joint symptoms.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe at 4 months.
Or if you're an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Polly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Hey, check this out. Every now and again, someone has to hit you in your head. And when they hit you in your head, you either concuss or you wake up to a new idea. And in the world of politics, it's okay to get hit in the head with another perspective. Our contributor today is Dr. Wilmer Leon, the author of Politics, Another Perspective, commentary and analysis on race, war, ethics, and the American political landscape in the age of Obama. It's okay to get hit in the head and look at politics from another perspective. And that's what we get from Dr. Wilmer Leon, right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. And even as we sit here and speak, I am getting a text message. From Dr. William Barber.
Oh,
Glad to do a 30-minute block with you regularly if you desire. Gina Towns, our producer, is going to make that happen. But that brings us to our most important point, fortuitously, that Dr. Wilmer Leon wanted to talk about today: Christian nationalism infiltrating the Black church by Reverend William Barber. Dr. Leon, what is the evidence that that is true?
Well, we've been hearing for a very long time. It surfaces almost cyclically, and we're seeing this now really rear its ugly head in the Trump administration. Basically, Christian nationalism or Christian nationalists assert that the United States was divinely founded as a Christian nation, and that the government should defend this Christian heritage. And that is in direct contradiction to the First Amendment, and it's in direct contradiction to the history of the country. But you see Donald Trump playing to the Christian, the late Jerry Falwells of the world, the Ralph Reeds of the world, those that are trying to interject a Christian ethos into our education system by demanding that the Bible be taught in school, that the 10 Commandments be placed in courthouses, all of these types of things. And it's to a great degree a way of inserting white supremacy through the use of Christianity into the country.
Dr. Leon, I want to hit, since you brought this article to my attention, I want to hit all of the Christians in the head another perspective, which is what you introduced by introducing this article into the show today. And that is this: if you go to church on Sunday morning to clap, to sing, to shout, to dance, and to praise, and at the end of a sermon, you've done all of that, and you have not discussed social justice, the freedom and liberation of your community, the freedom and liberation of someone else over the course of that service or over the course of that sermon, you have in effect been inculcated with non-liberation white Christian theology. That's really the thesis that Dr. Barber is positing in this piece that you sent me.
And he's absolutely right. Reverend Cone, James Cone, in the book The Cross or the Lynching Tree, I believe, talks about the fact that the Christian gospel is essentially a message of freedom. Jesus of Nazareth, the Jesus of history, was a freedom fighter. And Reverend Cone also tells us that if your theology is not grounded in the liberation of your people, you're wasting your time. You're also being misled, bamboozled, and led astray.
Hoodwinked.
Hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray. So we've got to identify this for what it is, because we're being taken down a very misleading, very, very perilous, very white supremacist path if we don't understand what this MAGA Christianity, and you can even find it it represents itself in Christian Zionism, because this whole support for the Zionist colony of Israel, the genocide that is being imposed upon the Palestinians. So when you listen to Huckabee, Mike Huckabee, and Mike the Huckster Huckabee, promoting this whole Zionist issue, and that, you know, Jesus will return, and I mean all of that. What do they call that? The not the reckoning, but the what's the term?
The resurrection?
I'm drawing a blank on the term. But you know, the end of times, the end of the world, and that we're now in the midst of it.
Apocalypse or
exactly. All of that as a way of supporting the Zionist colony of Israel. At its core, it is white supremacy.
I find that a very, very compelling argument. And I'm also reflecting in this moment about
the rapture. That's what I was trying to get to.
The rapture. I'm also reflecting in this moment when pastors say they don't want to register voters, or they don't want preachers or people to come, politicians, if you will, to come into their churches and talk politics. But then on the other hand, and I want you to pay close attention to this, not you, Dr. Leon, but to our listeners. When Tavis Smiley does his editorials and he sets the time and the clock runs out, and he says, we are having a town hall meeting to discuss what's taking place in the neighborhood or on the street right in front of us. We are gathering to discuss justice rolling down like righteousness of a mighty stream. That the investment that the city, that the county, that the government that was supposed to make right out in front of the radio station is something that needs to happen right now. Man, that's good theology, man. That is a sermon that will preach because it does. Because making it happen is that Christian witness. That makes sense to you, Dr. Leon?
Well, it makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me. And at the bottom of all of this, as you know, they love to recite the Pledge of Allegiance and put their hand over their heart, and they want to proclaim with liberty and justice for all. For all. That includes us. So all we're really demanding through all of this is that America live up to its precepts, that America live up to its principles. That's all we're demanding. Nothing more, nothing less. But for some reason, when we make that claim, there seems to be a problem in the argument.
Dr. Leon, there's let me pivot for a moment because we have about 6 minutes before we come forward. Hakeem Jeffries is taking a lot of heat right now on this question of his willingness not to cut aid to Israel. And I don't know a more prescient issue in the 2026 campaign other than affordability. This issue right here in the Democratic primaries has really fueled Bernie Sanders, AOC, Mamdani, and the entire Democratic Socialist of America coalition on where the Democratic Party is on the genocide that's taking place in the Gaza. Hakeem Jeffries recently made it clear that he is going to support aid to Israel. What are the consequences of that decision in the midterm elections?
Well, it could prove to be quite dire because he's being now publicly exposed for being on the wrong side of this issue. And when you equate the amount of money that AIPAC has contributed to Hakeem Jeffries, Code Pink puts the number at $1.5 million that he's received from AIPAC, then one has to ask the question, has his support for genocide in the Zionist colony of Israel been bought and paid for by AIPAC. And now Jeffries is telling the Democratic caucus that they must, quote, run toward the issue of rethinking U.S. support, not run away for Israel, not run away for it, calling the status quo unacceptable, but he's voting for the status quo. What kind of circular, ridiculous, convoluted, nonsensical logic or illogic is that? We have to have a change in the position. We can't support the status quo, but I'm going to vote to continue sending them the $3 billion. That makes no sense, Hakeem Jeffries. Read your own rhetoric. It makes no sense.
Dr. Leon, we need you to reconcile something for us with another big hit in the head, if you will. Since the inception of the Republic, there's always been a leader of the House of Representatives, a Speaker of the House.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in the history of the United States, so much of our history in this moment, at this hour, is vested in the idea that Hakeem Jeffries could very well be the first African-American speaker in the history of our nation. A lot of factors, a lot of forces come together in this moment. And so some of us, we with Hakeem because we want to see that. We also want to have some input and some say on how the House of Representatives and its agenda unfolds in light of being able to communicate directly with an African-American Speaker of the House of Representatives. And that same speaker, that same leader, in order to build a caucus, to build a majority, has to make some of the compromises that those of us who may be hardliners on other issues may or may not reconcile or understand. Reconcile that for us. The desires of the people legitimately to watch Hakeem Jeffries achieve this amazing feat, but also to be in charge of the Congress that holds Donald Trump accountable. But then on the other hand, the compromises that he has to make in order to achieve that feat.
Well, I think it was Justice Thurgood Marshall who told us that a white snake will kill you just as fast as a black snake. And that also then goes along with the adage that all my skin folk ain't my kinfolk. So we see the argument that you just presented in support of Hakeem Jeffries is the same argument that we were given in support of Clarence Thomas. You got to give the brother a chance. No, we don't. Because we have to move beyond. Our politics has to mature as African Americans. Our politics has to mature. And we can't fall. We can no longer continue to fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick. Vote for the brother so you can be down. Vote for the sister so you can be down.
So in this particular case, then a challenge, let's say, for example, from an AOC or a Ro Khanna or someone from the left wing of the party that has argued to stop the genocide, that would be a healthy debate within the Democratic Party. You're suggesting that should be so and that should be possible.
Absolutely. Because what did Du Bois tell us in 1956? He said there is but one evil party with two names. It will be elected despite all I can say or do. Democracy has so far disappeared in the United States that no two evils exist.
I'm Jesse Jackson.
I'm sorry.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I told you Dr. Leon was going to hit us in the head. Go get an aspirin. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. White 19-year-old Lucas Roper in Dallas, Texas, has been arrested for evidence tampering in the drowning death of Black 18-year-old Daniel Irving, whose body was found in Lake Ray Hubbard in April. Dominique Alexander with the Next Generation Action Network.
Tampering with the evidence charge is an outright disrespect to this family.
The victim's family is demanding murder charges, alleging the suspect tried to cover up the incident by deleting messages from Irving's phone. A black woman from California, 28-year-old Rezana Greenhoward, is facing murder and child abuse charges nearly 8 months after the death of her 2-year-old son in Lancaster. Investigators say the child suffered severe burns, and authorities are still working to determine exactly how he was injured. And Maryland's Black Governor Wes Moore has approved an expansion of Baltimore's enterprise zone by 120 acres. State officials say the move is designed to spur economic growth. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O, get happy with our Healthy Car Special. Includes a full synthetic oil change, 4-tire rotation, alignment check, brake, battery, and windshield wiper check. Plus, fluids topped off, all for only $59.99. Healthy car, happy life. Now at your local Big O Tires.
Is this the takeover? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers begin the second half of the season Friday night in New York against the Yankees. The 3-game series with the Yankees is part of a 9-game road trip for the Dodgers on the East Coast. The road trip will be a good test for the Dodgers to maintain their stature as Major League Baseball's best team. Spain is in the World Cup championship match after their 2-0 win over France in the semifinals. Spain will meet the winner of today's semifinal between England and Argentina. The World Cup final is Sunday in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The WNBA would prefer folks not to talk about this, but I'm going to mention it anyway. 65% of WNBA players are African American, but none of the 15 teams in the WNBA have an African American woman as their head coach. 7 of the head coaches are white women, 8 are men. The WNBA needs to work on this issue. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You can't fix what you won't face. And we face it every day. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Oh no! Straight a roof down.
Oh no, we have time.
Please, God, save us. Save our house. Please, God, please.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma, processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed with the marks on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black historical memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black historical memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black historical memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including Mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County Sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. and ask your questions directly in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Wilmer Leon is the host and producer of the nationally broadcast radio show Inside the Issues with Wilmer Leon on Sirius XM Satellite Radio Channel 126. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the show.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the invite. Greatly appreciate it.
Dr. Leon, how can we support your work?
Go to wilmerleon.com. You can find out everything you need there at the website. We'll just keep it simple. Just go to, you can communicate with me there, and tune in Saturdays from 11 to 2 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM 126 Urban View for Inside the Issues with Wilmer Leon. You can support me there.
Dr. Leon, a federal appeals court in Louisiana ended a decades-old desegregation order in the state of Louisiana. Now, I'm from Chicago, in the state of Illinois. I'm spending the next month and a half in Georgia. I assume, in
Maryland.
But the impact of a case that ends a desegregation order in Louisiana has national implications on the question decided in 1954, Brown versus the Board of Education. Obviously, Dr. Leon, it's on the docket. What does that say about where we're going, and how difficult would striking down Brown versus the Board of Education be to the constitutional order?
I think it would be incredibly detrimentally impactful, especially when you tie it along with the undoing of the Voting Rights Act. A number of the elements that have enabled people of color, particularly African Americans in this country, to develop some semblance, some level of equality in this country, come through two major elements. One, through the vote, access to the franchise, the ability to express oneself politically and have that expression represented or manifesting itself through those that you elect to represent you. And the other element that has proven historically to assist African Americans in achieving some semblance of equality in this country is education. The one thing that my parents beat into me, literally and figuratively: you are not going to be a disruption to the learning process. You are not going to be the one to distract others in the classroom, and you will get your education, because that's what enables and has enabled us to level this playing field. And so that it's no surprise that both the Voting Rights Act and the Brown decision have been in the crosshairs of the Trump administration and those that subscribe to that racist mindset.
My father once told me that there's no such thing as a narrow Supreme Court decision. No matter how tight the vote is, 5-4, 6-3, 7-2, there is no such thing as a narrow Supreme Court decision. And while the facts of Brown versus the Board of Education may center around access to education and the desegregation of schools, the principle and the holding of Brown versus the Board of Education is that the doctrine of separate and unequal is unconstitutional. When you strike down Brown versus the Board of Education, even with a fact pattern on desegregation, you also strike down the principle of separate and unequal. And that has consequences for Americans with disabilities, access to sidewalks and elevators and stairs and getting onto public transportation and accommodations. It has access for the LGBTQ community. It has implications for women. It has implications for people who are too tall and people who are too short. Its consequences are far-reaching beyond just the cases of education. Dr. Leon, Dad wasn't wrong, was he?
Not at all. Not at all. And that is a huge part of what gets lost here. And it's also important to realize that one of the big issues with integrating schools has to do with the broader aspect of how are school districts created, and they're based or what is the one thing that has the greatest impact on the makeup of a school or school system, and that's housing patterns. And so part of the big problem that we find ourselves still dealing with in 2026 has to do with housing patterns. First of all, where people choose to buy homes, and then secondly, where they are allowed to buy homes, because we know that racism in housing, redlining, it may not be as blatant as it once was, but it is still alive and well and living in America. And so until we're able to address or eradicate the racism in housing patterns, you're still going to need government oversight to ensure that integration in schools and the equality in terms of funding for school systems continues.
Dr. Leon, today when you buy a home, you buy a school district also, don't you?
Today, when you buy a home, you buy a school district also. And whether you have children or not, if you are an astute home buyer, you are going to ask about the quality of schools in your neighborhood, not necessarily because of your children, but because of resale and other elements that and factors that school districts have on the value of homes.
Let's go right on down this list. When you buy a home, you also buy a first-class medical center too, don't you?
You hope you can. You hope you can, and you're hoping for grocery stores, you're hoping for school system, you're hoping for fire department, police response. There are a number of things that you are buying into when you buy a home.
And so when you strike down the idea that the school district next to you will have a multicultural education where they will teach you Latin and Greek and French and the English language, when they teach you Spanish, when they teach you various courses and subject matters, when you suddenly find out because the population of students at the school are not diverse and the quality of education at the school is not equal to the quality of education at some school district in some other place, it imperils not just the neighborhood and not just the housing stock, but the entire community, correct?
And the value of your home. Absolutely.
And the value
the return on your investment, because the home for most Americans is the largest investment that they're going to make. And the appreciation on that investment or of that investment is what enables it impacts the creation of wealth. It impacts the intergenerational transference of wealth. There are a number of things that impact the value that value of that home impacts.
So Brown versus the Board of Education, therefore, is not just about the integration of of colors of children in schools. It is about the complete integration of a community, its economic value, its economic resources, the quality of life, the quality of policing, the quality of groceries, the quality of banking, you name it. All of it's at stake in Brown versus the Board of Education. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Wilmer Leon. More when we come forward right here at KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. And we're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
I think my LADWP bill is due, but nothing's come in the mail yet.
You still get paper bills?
Yeah, it's how I keep track of things.
Clearly, it's not working. You can't remember when it's due. You need to sign up for paperless billing. I get an email when my LADWP bill is due. I never have to wait on the mail, and I can see 7 years of bills in my online account. Plus, first-time signups get a $10 bill credit.
$10 bill credit for new LADWP paperless billing signups. LADWP.com/paperless.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles.
This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. In the next hour, sitting in for Dr. S. Todd Eury will be Dr. Ted Williams, one of our regular contributors on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. He's a professor, he's an actor, very opinionated, and has some thoughtful ideas about where this country is and where it's going. But in this hour, I'm honored that Dr. Wilmer Leon is our very special guest on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We are worldwide with Dr. Wilmer Leon. Dr. Leon, is there something else in the world that we are missing in this final segment of our show that we need to turn our attention to?
Well, I think we need to really start paying more attention to what's going on in countries like Burkina Faso, and looking at what's happening with the Alliance of Sahel States as they are demonstrating greater success in their de-neocolonial efforts, and we need to really be paying attention to what's going on there. Again, paying attention to what's happening in Cuba as well as Haiti, because the same things that the United States is doing in Cuba, the United States is doing in Haiti. Contrary to the general consensus, the United States is not the leader of the free world. If the world is truly free, it doesn't need a leader. So Americans truly need to be paying attention to this, because the global dynamic is shifting, and if we aren't paying attention to that shift, we are going to be behind the curve instead of being in front of the curve.
The colonial project, since for the last 2,000, 3,000 years, has known more colonization than it has known the idea of freedom. The idea of freedom is, as you correctly stated, Dr. Leon, a relatively new concept, because the history of the world is far more manifest destiny. It's far more the expansionist theological logic that the Catholic Church itself is still coming to terms with, this doctrine of discovery. Like white folks are going around the world discovering black and brown folks and civilizing them. But the colonial project in the last 100 or so years, it has been on the retreat. Dr. Leon, do we see an expansion of the colonial project as we sit here in our own time and space?
We see an attempt at the expansion of the project, and what we're finding is entities such as the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, and China are stepping in and saying, we're not going this route anymore. We're not accepting this anymore. We need to be paying attention to this. The History Channel just ran a phenomenal piece on Custer and Custer's Last Stand. And folks, if you get a chance, take a look at this, because what happened in 1860 or 1840, whenever this took place, we're still trying to, the United States is still trying to build on this today. Look at what the United States did to the Lakota people. Look at what the United States did to the Sioux. And when they realized that they were going to have a problem defeating the Native Americans as the United States tried to expand westward, They saw that their primary source of sustenance was the buffalo. And so what did they do? What did the United States government do? It killed the buffalo. And that to me speaks volumes. They went from millions of buffalo to less than 500. They killed the buffalo so they could kill the Indian.
Wow.
They did it in the 1800s. They're doing it now.
And I just saw a recent news article, I think on CNN, regarding efforts to relocate native horses from native lands, wild horses, to other lands, with Native Americans profoundly distraught and in a deep melancholy about the Department of the Interior and their movement. I just want to, before we get to your word of hope, share with our listeners the nature of the colonial project. When you think about the Strait of Hormuz, that too is part of the colonial project. The establishment of the State of Israel, the Balfour Agreement, part of the colonial project. The expansion of Israel into the West Bank and into the southern Lebanese territories, the colonial project. The Dutch in South Africa, an expansion of the colonial project. The United States cutting power to the people of Cuba and threatening people in the Caribbean and taking oil from the people of Venezuela, part of the colonial project. This idea that somehow we can annex Greenland and make it part of the United States is part of a colonial project. When we hear African nations still owing money to the French and to other former colonial empires who colonized their country, demanding that African countries, even though they've been robbed of natural resources, gold, minerals, diamonds, you name it, we somehow, meaning African countries, still owe them for a road that they built so they could take the minerals out of the country. Part of the colonial project. Dr. Leon.
Donald Trump made a comment last week about, he says, we've been fighting with Iran for 47 years, basically referring to the Iranian Revolution. But very few people ask themselves, what was the basis of the Iranian Revolution? Why were they so angry? And you can go back all the way to 1920 and look at when Britain put the Shah on the throne in Iran. And you can also find a timeline showing when Britain put the Sabah family in charge of Saudi Arabia. At the same time, they were trying to create a space to create the Zionist colony of Israel. Understand the history. So when you hear, oh, there was a coup d'etat, why? Why were they so angry? And you might find they had good reason to be.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest and regular contributor in this hour has been none other than Dr. Wilmer Leon, lecturer in Political Science Department of Howard University, and also a host producer of a nationally broadcast radio talk show, Inside the Issues with Wilmer Leon, on Sirius XM Satellite Radio, Channel 126. Dr. Leon is our regular contributor on Wealthy Wednesdays. Dr. Leon, thank you for spending time with us on the show.
Looking forward to seeing y'all next week.
Can't wait. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I will opine in the first segment of the next hour to discuss and properly position our understanding as African Americans of the Bill of Rights. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Ted Williams is up next, right here on Wealthy Wednesdays.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. White 19-year-old Lucas Roper in Dallas, Texas, has been arrested for evidence tampering in the drowning death of Black 18-year-old Daniel Irving, whose body was found in Lake Ray Hubbard in April. Dominique Alexander with the Next Generation Action Network.
Tampering with the evidence charge is an outright disrespect to this family.
The victim's family is demanding murder charges, alleging the suspect tried to cover up the incident by deleting messages from Irving's phone. A Black woman from California, 28-year-old Raizana Greenhoward, is facing murder and child abuse charges nearly 8 months after the death of her 2-year-old son in Lancaster. Investigators say the child suffered severe burns, and authorities are still working to determine exactly how he was injured. And Maryland's Black Governor Wes Moore has approved an expansion of Baltimore's enterprise zone by 120 acres. State officials say the move is designed to spur economic growth. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O, get happy with our Healthy Car Special. Includes a full synthetic oil change, 4-tire rotation, alignment check, brake, battery, and windshield wiper check. Plus, fluids topped off, all for only $59.99. Healthy car, happy life. Now at your local Big O Tires.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers begin the second half of the season Friday night in New York against the Yankees. The 3-game series with the Yankees is part of a 9-game road trip for the Dodgers on the East Coast. The road trip will be a good test for the Dodgers to maintain their stature as Major League Baseball's best team. Spain is in the World Cup championship match after their 2-0 win over France in the semifinals. Spain will meet the winner of today's semifinal between England and Argentina. The World Cup final is Sunday in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The WNBA would prefer folks not to talk about this, but I'm going to mention it anyway. 65% of WNBA players are African American, but none of the 15 teams in the WNBA have an African American woman as their head coach. 7 of the head coaches are white women, 8 are men. The WNBA needs to work on this issue. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know. Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and a lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me.
Jackson Jr. Looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'd like a little latitude on this one right here. Prime spots of the Bill of Rights of 1791. Women were not included, and Negroes need not apply. When the Bill of Rights was ratified in 1791, it read like a triumph of human liberty, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, protection from unreasonable searches, the right to a fair trial. 2 centuries later, Americans recite these amendments as though they were written for everyone from the start. They simply were not. The men who drafted the first 10 amendments were not imagining a nation of equals. They were imagining a nation of propertied white men, and the rights they enshrined were built to protect that class specifically. Enslaved Black Americans were at the time 3/5 of a person under the Constitution's own arithmetic, a formula designed not to elevate them, but to inflate the political power of the states that owned them, while denying them any of the liberties being celebrated. Free Black people fared only marginally better, shut out of citizenship, voting, and legal standing in state after state. Women, regardless of race, had no independent legal existence at all under the doctrine of coverture. A wife's property, wages, and legal identity were absorbed into her husband's. The right to bear arms and the right to speedy trial and public trial, the protection against cruel and unusual punishment, these were guarantees among men who already held power, extended to shore up that power and not to share it. This isn't a matter of interpretation or modern projection backward into the past. The historical record is direct. Justice Roger Taney said it plainly in Dred Scott versus Sanford, ruling that Black Americans, free or enslaved, were never intended to be included among, quote, the people, quote, the Constitution described, and had no rights which white men were bound to respect. He was not inventing a new reading. He was accurately describing the document as its framers understood it. It took a civil war and the Reconstruction Amendments to even begin correcting the record, and even then the correction was partial, contested, and violently resisted for another century. Women would not secure a constitutional right to vote until 1920, a full 129 years after the Bill of Rights was ratified, and even that amendment did little for Black women in the Jim Crow South, who continued to be turned away from ballot boxes through terror and legal trickery until 1965. None of this means the Bill of Rights was worthless or that the language was permanently fixed to its author's intentions. Words were once written into founding law can grow the men who wrote them. It can outgrow them. This is precisely what happened. Abolitionists, suffragists, civil rights lawyers spent generations doing something remarkable. They took the language built to protect a narrow class of men and forced the nation to actually live up to its universal sounding promises. We the people was never meant to include everyone in 1787, but the phrase was elastic enough and the moral pressure sustained enough and eventually had to. That history matters today because it complicates the comfortable myth that America's founding documents were simply ahead of their time, waiting patiently to be applied evenly. They weren't natural texts slowly discovered to include more people. They were narrow texts that excluded people deliberately and were only widened through relentless political struggle. Abolition, the 14th and the 15th Amendments, the 19th Amendments, the Voting Rights Act, each fought for by people the original document did not consider part of the people at all. Recognizing this isn't an attack on the founding fathers or the framework they built, it's simply honest history. And honest history should make us less complacent, not more cynical. A right that had to be fought for a second and third time, long after it was supposedly guaranteed on paper is a fragile thing. Rights extended by amendment can, in theory, be narrowly gained by neglect, by hostile courts, or by simply forgetting of how recently or how hard won they were. The 19th Amendment is barely older than some living memories. The Voting Rights Act, meant to make the 15th Amendment real rather than nominal, is not 61 years old and has already been substantially weakened by the courts. How do I know? Because I was born in 1965. The sobering lesson of 1791 is not that the founders were uniquely villainous for their era. Many reflected the near universal assumptions of their time. The lesson is that no right is self-executing and no document defends itself. The Bill of Rights became a genuinely universal charter only because generations of excluded people insisted it become one. That work was never finished by 1791, and it's not finished now. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. In this hour, our very special guest will be none other than Dr. Ted Williams, an educator, actor, author who teaches political sciences at the City of Chicago City Colleges. He's a graduate of the University of Chicago, Rutgers University, and Northern Seminary. He's an actor. NBC's Chicago PD, Showtime's The Chi, various films, plays, and commercials for companies including Empire Carpet, Cheerios, and Subway. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 with Dr. Ted Williams when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's sharp. She's fearless. I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how I'm going to get clicks, stop it now. She's that girl, and she's bringing all of that to your radio this summer. Amanda Seales is here. I am Amanda Seales. Comedian, artist, actress, activist, truth teller. The woman who never bites her tongue is coming to KBLA Talk 1580. I'm coming! And baby, the conversations are about to be unmatched. Every Friday, she's going to be lit noon to 2 p.m. and back again 4 to 6 p.m. starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Amanda Seales, keeping it real, keeping it raw, and keeping it rooted. Politics, pop culture, Black excellence, the stuff they don't want us talking about. Amanda's talking about all of it.
You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works.
This is not your average radio show. This is a Seales Summer. Fridays, noon to 2, 4 to 6. Starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't just listen. Tune in. There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
I love a girls' weekend, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin, thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
You can usually find me in the kitchen, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm still in the mix with Skyrizi to treat my joint symptoms.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe at 4 months.
Or if you're an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Ted Williams is our very special guest. And in this moment, Dr. Williams, I am thinking about something Dr. King said as you prepare to unmute your mic. He said, I'm tired of fighting for something that should have been mine at birth. I'm tired Dr. Williams, the Bill of Rights didn't apply to us until the Reconstruction Amendments.
Yeah, Dr. King said he was tired, but Brother Jesse, he also said, somewhere I read about the freedom of speech, somewhere I read about the equality of all men. He understood that America had to live up to what it said on paper, or it wasn't really America. And I think the beauty of this is, to your point, many of us are tired. But the beauty of this is, like Langston Hughes said, we ultimately make America America by extending this real promise to all of us. The 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment are our amendments. And so as a result, that Bill of Rights, as we know, I mean, let's look at the Second Amendment, for instance. The Second Amendment gave what people believe a universal right to bear arms, which I don't actually believe it does. I believe it, as four Supreme Court justices argued in the Heller case, that right is for the militia primarily, and we have extended it to the individual. That's a whole nother conversation. But when I look at it, even with that, we had to fight for us to even have the right to bear arms. We had to fight for us to have the Fourth Amendment right to privacy. We had to fight for us to have the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. And yet, my brother, as you know, because you are a historian, we have moved the needle significantly in many, many ways. And we have opened the doors for every immigrant group, every marginalized, oppressed group in this country owes us their freedom and owes us their equality. And so I'm tired, but I'm encouraged, if that makes sense.
Dr. Williams, let me ask you this question, because first of all, I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you said, so I can't improve upon it, nor would I ever try. But I do want to add that for the 250th anniversary of the nation, I didn't hear anyone tell that story. I heard it here on KBLA Talk 1580. I've heard it from you. The fact that new immigrants come to the United States and they take this little test of citizenship or worthiness to be in the United States, and it doesn't deal with the understanding, an appreciation of what that struggle encompasses that you just outlined. I find that somewhat troubling at age 250, because so many of those immigrants who've only seen us on television. I've traveled to Europe, and late night, because of jet lag, I turn on the television set and all I see is Sanford and Son. You know, I see the Jeffersons. I might see, you know, something representative of the Cosby family or the Cosby kids, or that Dr. Ted Williams exists. We're basketball players in their minds, and that's about it. And that we're lazy and shiftless. Dr. Williams, our story is not penetrating, and it's not known around the world quite like we know it.
It is not, however. We must keep, as your father said, we must keep hope alive, because I'm gonna say this to you. My work as an artist, we are pushing this. Your work as a media guru and commentator and educator yourself, I think we are moving the needle. And here, I believe, brother, is why. The problem that we're dealing with the lack of civic education around our issues is not just about our issues. If you were to walk up to the average American on the street and ask them a question about anything related to the Constitution, anything related to the political system, anything related to democracy, you would be heartbroken, maybe not surprised what comes about. But what you will see is that people are, Black, white, and all other ethnicities, very well aware of celebrity culture. So what do? The idea is, if you can't beat them, join them in certain ways. We have to figure out how to take what is popular among the masses of people and grab a hold of that and interject civic engagement, interject sort of moral education, interject this idea of civil rights. And I don't know how long I have on this planet, but I will say that every single person that I get a chance to educate, whether it's through the arts or in the classroom, and that occurs for them, I'm encouraged. I just sat with a group of 30 students today from all different ethnic backgrounds who literally said, Professor Williams, I didn't know a lot about this stuff when I came to your class 2 months ago. Now I want to get involved in the political process. Brother, that is encouraging enough for me to keep on keeping on.
It should be, and we are grateful for that effort. But look at what we have to do to get young people or 30 people engaged in the process. That if Dr. Williams isn't speaking to 30 people specifically about what someone didn't know 2 months ago and the transformation of the individual 2 months later to an engaged citizen, I mean, there's no Democrat that's using their platform quite like Jesse Jackson did to mass educate people on participating in the process. I mean, this guy was speaking in 10 churches a Sunday. My dad, of course, I'm being reverent when I say this guy. He also wasn't home, right? But that's one of the sacrifices that came with it: educating people, registering people, inspiring people, giving them a reason to vote, even, if you will, guilt tripping them into vote. We lost Martin, we lost Medgar, we lost Viola Luizzo and Reverend James Reeb and brother down there in Marion, Alabama, the veteran, Jimmy Lee Jackson. We lost these people. And so you need to vote because they paid for this right to vote with their blood, with their sacrifice. Jim Crow lynchings, our women and others being asked to count jelly beans and how many marbles there are in a huge jar, and you had to come up with an accurate number in order to cast your vote. Poll taxes and literacy tests. So this struggle runs contrary to the average education of an immigrant who comes to the United States, who obviously during the Depression found themselves in ghettos and barrios and trailer parks around the nation just like we did. We found ourselves in the same economic boat, but socially and culturally still divided, Dr. Williams, by race.
Yeah, and so we, to your point, we have the work that must be done. I too, brother, am offended when people come to this country and they don't respect the contributions of the African American community who has literally bled and died so that people would have the rights. I mean, you think about this recent Supreme Court conversation about the 14th Amendment and what that actually meant, and how the Trump administration tried to use the idea that the 14th Amendment was only for us, that African Americans specifically, we care about African. I mean, come on, you all get out of here, right? And they tried to make the argument about domicile and loyalty to the United States, as if when you got freed from enslavement, you had any other option but to be sort of loyal to the place where you are, as if you had any economic option to go anywhere else or do anything. And so when we look at that, I am very comfortable with expanding the understanding of the 14th Amendment to include birthright citizenship, because to me, that is the expansion of democracy and what it means to be an American. And so to your point, it is very sad that people don't know, but I'm telling you, the pressures of a capitalist system make it so that this kind of civic education is not really germane to many people's everyday existence. And so as we look at not just on the individual level, what I'm doing in the classroom, what you're doing with people, that sort of thing, we look at institutionally what ought to happen, brother. And I believe that civic education ought to be mandatory. I think that we have to look at ways to expand this idea that people must be able to engage. Thomas Jefferson, who I am not a fan of, but he believed that education was about citizenship. He believed in citizen schools because he realized you can't have a democracy if you don't have an educated populace. And so you and I must continue to not only do the work we're doing, but advocate for public policies that make this not only accessible, but mandatory for all people, or we will not have another 250 years.
Dr. Williams, I'd like to make a pivot, and I can make this pivot because I know you can make the pivot with me. Yesterday, our very special guest on the program is Carmen Bolden Day, who lost her son, Jelani Day, under circumstances in downstate Illinois that were tragic. She came to our program yesterday as a witness for the trauma and all that families who lose their children under particularly circumstances where investigations end up going nowhere. To be a witness to the Nolan Wells family out of Mississippi, the young African American who on July 4th went out on a boat ride with some of his friends, and according to Ben Crump and Al Sharpton and others who spent time with that family, all of the evidence is not stacking up and all of the stories that are being told are not coming together. That too, Dr. Williams, is part of the complicated nature of what it means to be an African American, certainly to be an African American male in the United States. Dr. Williams, your thoughts on Nolan Wells?
I am a parent of 2 teenagers and 1 young adult. My children are in predominantly white spaces in their schooling and sports teams and that sort of thing. We are told as middle-class African Americans to get our students into these spaces. And then we realize that these spaces are more dangerous many times than the spaces that we're running from, that we believe that, the spaces that many of us have tried to move past.
You're preaching that, Doc. You're preaching that.
So now where do you go, right? Where do we go as people who are trying to live a middle-class American life with children? Do you want them in the all-white spaces? Do you want them in spaces in our community where they are potentially subject to gun violence and things like that? And so we're really very challenged in this way. We also couple that with the history of this country, and anybody who comments on this particular case and ignores the history of a state like Mississippi, how could you possibly fix your mouth to have a conversation about this if you do not acknowledge the Emmett Tills of the world and all of the other people, all of the other people throughout history who have not only people of African descent, but white folks who have stood up for us and gotten killed in places like Mississippi.
Swerner Goodman and Cheney.
Exactly. And so I tell you this, brother, lots of people who jump in, and you got even, Nolan's friend, oh, it's not about race. Here's the reality. In this country, almost everything's about race. And so if you understand that in context, we can wait until the facts come out. We can operate in love. I believe that the mother and the father in this case are very level-headed people, a lot more level-headed than I would be in this situation, to be honest with you. And yet we recognize that everything has to be looked at in context. I am very concerned. I grew up in those environments, brother. I went to all-white private high schools, country club membership, all that stuff. And I was around a lot of people who did not look like me growing up. And I knew that there were certain times where I felt like I was not protected and I had to protect myself. And so to suggest that in any way, shape, or form that this young man is not connected to that full history is, I think, very irresponsible. I can tell you, I am so encouraged by the people in our community who have stood up, who've tried to say, we're going to get to the bottom of this and we support this family. And that's what we have to continue doing.
That's Ben Crump. Kudos to Ben Crump. That's Byron Allen. Kudos to Byron Allen, Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick, Tyler Perry, all of these folks.
Perry,
they came to the family's aid, and we have to do that. And it's a shame that we have to do that in 2026, brother, but we do what we have to until we can do what we want.
Carmen Bolden brought up the support that comes from the community during these tragedies and how much that alleviated much of the personal suffering. But every single day, it does not get better as a result of what has happened and the unanswered questions that these families have to live with. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest today is lighting it up right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, Ted Williams, actor, educator, author, teaches political science, and an amazing individual that we are particularly proud of right here at KBLA. Today, he's sitting in for Dr. S. Todd Yeary. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward right here with Ted Williams.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. White 19-year-old Lucas Roper in Dallas, Texas, has been arrested for evidence tampering in the drowning death of Black 18-year-old Daniel Irving, whose body was found in Lake Ray Hubbard in April. Dominique Alexander with the Next Generation Action Network.
Tampering with the evidence charge is an outright disrespect to this family.
The victim's family is demanding murder charges, alleging the suspect tried to cover up the incident by deleting messages from Irving's phone. A black woman from California, 28-year-old Raizana Greenhoward, is facing murder and child abuse charges nearly 8 months after the death of her 2-year-old son in Lancaster. Investigators say the child suffered severe burns, and authorities are still working to determine exactly how he was injured. And Maryland's Black Governor Wes Moore has approved an expansion of Baltimore's enterprise zone by 120 acres. State officials say the move is designed to spur economic growth. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O, get happy with our Healthy Car Special. Includes a full synthetic oil change, 4-tire rotation, alignment check, brake, battery, and windshield wiper check. Plus, fluids topped off, all for only $59.99. Healthy car, happy life. Now at your local Big O Tires.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers begin the second half of the season Friday night in New York against the Yankees. The 3-game series with the Yankees is part of a 9-game road trip for the Dodgers on the East Coast. The road trip will be a good test for the Dodgers to maintain their stature as Major League Baseball's best team. Spain is in the World Cup championship match after their 2-0 win over France in the semifinals. Spain will meet the winner of today's semifinal between England and Argentina. The World Cup final is Sunday in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The WNBA would prefer folks not to talk about this, but I'm going to mention it anyway. 65% of WNBA players are African American, but none of the 15 teams in the WNBA have an African American woman as their head coach. 7 of the head coaches are white women, 8 are men. The WNBA needs to work on this issue. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We don't do ordinary. This is KBLA Talk 1580. In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Oh no! Straight the roof down! Oh no, we have time! Please, God, save us. Save our house. Please, God, please.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma, processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm, who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed with some marks on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black historical memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black historical memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black historical memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
Let's do this. We're heading into one of the most important election seasons in a generation. And with so much on the line, your healthcare, your economy, your neighborhood, you deserve more than sound bites. You deserve the full story. KBLA Talk 1580 is your trusted voice for political coverage, commentary, and conversation. From local races to national headlines, we bring you the insight and perspective you need to make sense of it all and make your voice heard. Between now and November, a lot will happen. A lot will change. But one thing won't. KBLA Talk 1580 will be right here, keeping you informed, keeping you engaged, and keeping it real. KBLA Talk 1580. The place for politics.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including Mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County Sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Ted Williams, educator, author, but also an actor. His acting credits include NBC's Chicago PD, Showtime's The Chi, various films, plays, and commercials for companies including Empire Carpet, Cheerios, and Subway. Williams is the former host of WYCC PBS Television's The Professors, author of the book The Way Out, Christianity, Politics, and the Future of the African American Community, and creator of the musical theater production 1619, The Journey of a People. Dr. Williams, welcome forward to the show.
Always great to be here with you.
Can we use this segment to talk about the musical on Saturday, August 1st from 12 to 12 and 4 p.m.? That's two different shows. I thought it was a show. Okay.
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much for all of that. And I literally, about 7 years ago, during the 400-year anniversary of the first 20 enslaved Africans arriving on the shores of Point Comfort, Virginia, August 20th, 1619, in 2019, we commemorated that 400-year anniversary. And I was thinking in my academic capacity how I could commemorate that through a panel discussion or something. And then it hit me divinely. I need to write a musical. And I'd written another musical before. And I am convinced that the arts are our greatest educational tool right now, arts and media in the world that we live in, whether it's social media videos, whether it's plays, film, that kind of thing. And so we wrote the show, premiered it at Kennedy King College in the City College of Chicago, where I happen to be a full-time faculty member. I've been here for over 20 years and teach political science. And I've been grateful we premiered the show here. And literally immediately, they started calling me. I went to Hampton, went to different colleges across the country. And now we're back at Kennedy King, which we haven't been here in some years. And I'm just super excited. It's home for me. And I think that communities like this Inglewood on the south side of Chicago are at the forefront of achieving the American dream. If we can do great things in communities like this, right, then the rest of America can excel. And I, as you, I'm sure, think about how do we invest in the least of our communities? How do we put forth a Marshall Plan for the hood? Well, for me, part of my investment in our community is bringing economic development through the arts and employing artists and doing work in communities where you might have to go downtown or somewhere to see a particular kind of show. I'm excited about bringing them to places that don't get it. And so in our show, we go 90 to 120 minutes of American history in a series of vignettes that are full of comedy and music and drummers and dancers and fog machines and costumes and glow-in-the-dark costumes. And we have a wonderful time telling the story of American, not Black American history, but American history, because Black history is American history.
Dr. Williams, let me ask you this question, because you shared with us that the 400th anniversary from Jamestown, Virginia to 2019 was a factor in your thinking for creating the musical. But why the musical angle? Why did you choose to present it in the form of song and in the form of that cultural expression?
Our journey in this country, from the transatlantic slave trade, our journey from the shores of West Africa to this place, through the horrific experience of slavery, not only in the United States, but in Central and South America, has always been one that has been connected to music, song, as a manifestation and expression of our struggle. The drums, the West African drums, we have a djembe player. We play the djembe and the cajon are two of the drums that we use in the show. Those drums in many West African tribes were warring drums. They were drums that were used to signify that this tribe was going to take over another tribe, or to warn the tribe, or to prepare the tribe. Well, that rhythm went across the Atlantic and landed here in our Negro spirituals of the 1700s and 1800s, moved into our blues and jazz music, manifests itself today in our hip hop culture. And for me, brother, it is about reclaiming this music, reclaiming this rhythm, reclaiming the drum, the rhythm that we have people like artists, Kanye and Jay-Z and all these folks, that they're playing was a rhythm that was designed to empower our people historically. I think that the forefront of this battle for the heart and the mind of African Americans and the American community as a whole must be fought with the weapons of artistry. Because at the end of the day, this is how we can, I believe, reach the masses. And what I've tried to do in this show is I've tried to hit them with everything. I've got hip hop in the show, and blues and jazz and soul and gospel and da-da-da-da. And my thing is that if you don't like what I'm doing with hip hop, the song will be over in 3 minutes. There'll be something completely different that you'll like then. And then that song will be over in 3 minutes, and there'll be something else. And eventually, so you got to win everybody. And you know who I got that from, Brother Jesse? You know who I got that from? The artist that I know you and I both love very, very much. I got that from the King of Pop. Because if you listen to any of his, albums.
Shamo, dropping on us, Shamo.
Come on, Shamo, right? Shamo. I gotta quote Michael on this. Because Michael would hit you with, if you think about the Bad album and how phenomenal, he hit you with Dirty Diana, and he got a rock song. And then he hit you with Smooth Criminal, which was straight pop, and he's doing all this stuff, and then he hit you with a little bit of soul as he doing Liberian Girl.
And he'll bring Van Halen and Jennifer Botten in it. And I mean, talking about the lead guitar.
It's such a phenomenal formula. There's always something in it. There's something in it for everyone. Yeah. And that to me is how you reach the people. And so we are a visual people. We are a people that respond to the rhythm. And I'm telling you, man, our liberation, if the artists are not a part of it, where are we going? Because here's the flip side. The artists are a part of the deleterious part of our culture heavily right now. And we see the artists leading that. The Pied Piper, not just the Pied Piper that we use in R&B, but the Pied Piper concept that artists today are really helping to destroy our community. And we got to change that.
Ted Williams is also a minister. He's also a preacher. And I know I'm getting my finger His fingers being pointed at me by our producer. But I do want to say this, Ted. As a preacher, you didn't tell us how to get tickets, how we can come to the show. You didn't pass the plate. Ted, can you do that right now?
Pass the plate. I got caught up in the spirit, so I didn't pass the plate. Go to Eventbrite, search 1619. You can hit the QR code, hashtag 1619musical. Go to our website, 1619musical.com. Get your tickets. We have group rates. We love this is the work of my life, guys. This really, really is. And I am so grateful to be able to do it. So come check us out August 1st in Chicago. You don't want to miss it. I promise you'll be upset if you do. We can't wait to see you there. So please make sure you do that. And then come join us for this. I saw the reparations piece, doing a reparations conversation at the NAACP conference in next week, which I think is equally important.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Chris Holden, former California Assembly member, former mayor of Pasadena, and CEO of LA Fire Justice. I've spent my career fighting for our communities. When I saw Edison celebrating $4.5 billion in profits while Eaton Fire survivors struggle to make ends meet, it made me simultaneously sick and furious. Families and individuals are dealing with financial pressure, insurance delays, costly remediation, and the painful question of how to rebuild their lives, while the utility that caused the fire is paying its executives millions and is more profitable than ever. That's not justice. That's a disgrace. Join the lawsuit with LA Fire Justice to hold Edison accountable. We're here to help you, your family, and our community recover. Visit lafirejustice.com today to learn more about your eligibility and how to start.
Advertisement. Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Fay Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at wootencenter.org. That's wootencenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Created with a share of the 1984 Olympic Games surplus, LA 84 began operations in 1985 as a grant-making and educational foundation. Today, the LA 84 Foundation supports hundreds of nonprofit youth sports organizations throughout Southern California annually, trains coaches, commissions research, convenes conferences, and maintains the world's premier Olympic and sports library collection. They are transforming lives and communities through the power of youth sports. To find out about youth sports programs for yourself or your child, and to get information about the grants and support they offer to schools and nonprofits, or if you want to make a donation, please visit la84.org. That's la84.org. Or you can call them at 323-730-4600. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt?
Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Mike is muted.
Thank you very much for that. I guess I can start from the very top. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Ted Williams has been our very special guest, educator, actor, and author, teaches political science at the City Colleges of Chicago. He is also the creator of the musical theater production 1619, The Journey of a People, previous candidate for the Chicago City Council, and currently serves on the Illinois Reparations Commission. Just before the break, we were talking about this production, 1619, The Journey of a People, and my producer had a screen up, and I want to put it back up before I go to the hub in the lab, so that you can see the QR code. Because if you take your cell phone and you put it against the QR code on your laptop or in any other device and you see the program, you're able to go directly to the musical, you're able to go directly to Eventbrite and to the tickets to support Dr. Williams's work. For group tickets, please call 312-602-9642, 312-602-9642. And now I'd like to go and have a brief conversation with Dr. Williams about From Promise to Policy, a roadmap for reparative justice. Share with us the panel and the discussion that you plan on having in the not too distant future.
Thank you for this. I am so honored that I get to serve on one of 3 state-level reparative justice commissions in the country. California, New York, and Illinois are the only 3 states that have, at the state level, put the resources aside to deal with this question of reparative justice, reparations for African Americans. Now, you and I both know that reparations was a policy that was a Civil War era policy. General Sherman's Field Order 15 promised 400,000 acres of land from Florida through South Carolina for the nearly 4 million African Americans who had just been freed following the Emancipation Proclamation, the end of the Civil War. Well, as you all know, that land, as it began to be doled out, that program, Field Order 15, lasted about 6 months. And in reality, the southern states and the former Confederates began to roll back everything. 1865 to 1877, Reconstruction era, we had a moment in time where we were going to be an equal society potentially. We had the possibility of being a multi-ethnic, multi-racial democracy that worked for everyone. We had a moment. It closed with the compromise of 1877, Tilden and Hayes, and what they ultimately did. Samuel Tilden said to Rutherford B. Hayes, running for president, I will give you the presidency if you give me the South. And all of that rolled back overnight. And so here we are in 2026, still trying to figure out how we deal with the wealth gap where white Americans own 10 times what African Americans do. 10 times the wealth is what they have, 10 times in this country. We also have an inequality across the board. The top 1% of people in this country own more than the bottom 50%. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of sitting around trying to figure out how I can pull myself up by my bootstraps a little bit more. And I'm tired of doing that and telling people who look like me, you just need to work harder. You just need to figure it out when every
I'm tired.
I just say, you know what? And you got me. You got me because didn't I tell you at first I wasn't gonna be? You said you were tired. I said no, we're not gonna be tired. Now you got me tired after this conversation. So I blame you for that. 'Cause I was hopeful at first, and now I got tired too. So
you tired. Okay. So our producer says by your bootstraps. Pull
by
yourself
your bootstraps.
Some of these brothers out here pull themselves up by their belts. Well,
yes, right. And what Dr. King said, you know, it's a cruel jest. What if you don't have any boots, bro? You know, and so you go city by city, community by community, and you see the same dynamic in Memphis and Cleveland and Chicago and New York and Detroit. It's the same dynamic. Don't tell me that African Americans don't work hard enough. We were the hardest working people in this country.
We tired.
And in many ways, the most patriotic people in this country, too, because we keep coming back, Jesse. We keep coming back time after time again, saying we hope beyond hope. So this reparative justice movement is about fulfilling at the state level what's not being done at the federal level, at the municipal level, it's not being at the federal level. And we just released a report. That report explores all of the harms that have been done in our state. California did the same. New York is still doing theirs as well. So that we can have targeted and not just simplistic. A lot of people think reparations is just cash payments. Reparations is a holistic look at how do we repair centuries of injustice. And if we want to have a country that actually lasts and survive, we better do that. We don't have communities to throw away. We don't have young people to waste. We've got to figure this out. And communities like Evanston and Asheville, North Carolina have done it on their own. What we're doing at the state level, hopefully we'll morph into the national level and we'll get our justice.
I know we only have 2 minutes before we come forward, and I normally close on a word of hope, but I came up with this thought earlier today, and I can actually document this in history. In my book, A More Perfect Union, I deal with this. Lincoln concluded ultimately, Dr. Williams, that in order to save the Union that he loved, he had to free the Negro. I have concluded, most recently, but I believed it, quite frankly, from a long time, but I've concluded that in order to save the Negroes that I love, we have to save this country. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. This land is my land. These are my rights. We helped build it. We deserve it. We demand the respect from it. We are committed to it. We have died for it. And we have bled for it.
Absolutely.
Reverend Williams, take us on out of here with that right there. You got a minute.
My brother, that you could drop the mic right there. I mean, you really can. I could not agree with you more. You know, I'm not going anywhere, and my family ain't going nowhere, and we shouldn't have to go anywhere.
Right.
And because of that, we are invested in this country. And if this country was smart, it would be invested in us as well. Can you imagine if we took the idea of the Marshall Plan? We're spending almost $1 billion a day in Iran right now. What if we put $1 billion into the hood a day and said to those kids, you're our kids. We're not going to let you languish in despair and inequality. We're going to invest. We're going to do like the Chinese do, who have over 1 billion people there, and see we don't have Chinese communities to waste. We are going to retool because we recognize that our labor source and our population is our power. That would be a different way to reimagine what it means to be an American. And I think if we do that, this is the word of hope, that if we invest in at least these, like the NFL, by the way, the NFL, when you are a poor team, you get the first draft pick the next year. That's equity. That's inclusion. That's equality. That's what we have to do with our public policy so that America can not be great again, but be great once and for all people.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., our very special guest in this hour who's been lighting it up, Dr. Ted Williams, amazing actor, an amazing thinker, an amazing educator, and an amazing author. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
KBLA 1580 Santa